She was feared as the most powerful landlady in Lagos. But behind her compound walls was a deadly secret. For 15 years, she hid the truth about her husband's death until a stranger moved in, claiming to be her late husband's son. What happened next shook the entire community. The compound was alive with noise, as it always was. Children screaming, men arguing about nippolite, women gossiping by the well, and the sharp smell of kerosene smoke drifting from countless stoves. But behind the iron gate painted a fading blue, something darker lingered, something only Madame Folek, the landlady, truly knew. By day, Folek was respected, even feared. A widow in her mid-50s, always dressed in clean lace wrappers, with gold earrings that caught the sunlight. She walked with the authority of a woman who had seen life, suffered loss, and built wealth with her bare hands. To tenants, she was a strict, calculating woman who collected rent every first Sunday of the month without mercy. But at night, in the quiet of her small upstairs flat, she opened her secret ledger, a diary of confessions no one dared to imagine. The first confession: she wasn't always the landlady. 15 years ago, she was just another struggling trader in Balogun Market, selling second-hand clothes with a baby tied to her back. Her husband, Beo, was a carpenter, hardworking, loving, but too trusting. When Beo got entangled with a mysterious contractor who promised him land and contracts, everything changed. Within 6 months, Beo was dead, hit by a car that no one ever investigated, and Folek suddenly owned a compound she never paid for. But the story didn't end there. Every tenant who moved into her compound carried secrets that somehow tied back to her husband's death. And Folek, sharp-eyed and sharp-tongued, knew more than she ever revealed. It was a humid Friday evening when something happened that threatened to shatter the fragile peace of her compound. A new tenant moved in. A young man, tall, with piercing eyes that never seemed to blink too long. He introduced himself as Chuka, claiming to be a software engineer, quiet and polite. But Folek had lived long enough to recognize lies dressed in fine English. From the first moment she saw him, something in her chest tightened. He reminded her too much of someone from her husband's past. That night, as the compound settled into silence, she sat on her balcony staring at Chuka's window. The curtain moved though no light was on. A shadow crossed. Her fingers trembled as she picked up her diary and wrote, "Another one has entered. If he digs too deep, the truth will bury us all." The first week passed quietly until one of the old tenants, Mama Ifioma, stormed into Folek's flat. "Madam Landlady, abego, who be that man where you give flat? He know they greet, he know they mix, and last night I swear I hear him talking to somebody inside his room, but not only him they inside." Folek dismissed her with a wave, but her mind raced. She had heard the whispers too. That evening, unable to resist, she crept to Chuka's window. She pressed her ear gently against the wooden frame. And what she heard froze her blood. Chuka's voice, low but sharp, speaking into a phone. "Yes, I found her. The woman that killed him. The landlady. She won't escape this time." Folek staggered back, her chest pounding. The words struck her like a thunderbolt. Killed him? Was he talking about Beo, her late husband? She rushed back upstairs, locked her door, and opened her old trunk box. Inside was the yellowed newspaper clipping she had kept hidden all these years, the one headline that told half the story. "Carpenter dies in mysterious accident in Suralia." Folek knew what the papers didn't. She knew the truth of that night, the secret that could destroy her, and now someone else knew too. Folek didn't sleep that night. She sat by her window, her wrapper pulled tightly around her shoulders, staring into the dark courtyard. The only sound was the whine of mosquitoes and the occasional rumble of a downfall bus passing on the road outside. But her mind wasn't in Lagos anymore, it was back in Surale, 15 years ago, the night Beo died. Now, a stranger was in her compound, whispering into his phone about her. The next morning, she acted normal. She walked around the compound, scolding children for spilling water on the steps, demanding rent arrears from a struggling tailor, and laughing loudly with the old vulcanizer who always flirted with her. But all the while, her eyes were fixed on Chuka. He was different. While other tenants joined the morning gossip at the well, he avoided everyone. He left the compound early, returned late, and always locked his door twice, click click, like a man hiding more than just property. But what unsettled Folek most wasn't his silence. It was the way he watched her when he thought she wasn't looking. His eyes followed her with a quiet intensity, as if he was studying every movement, every word, every step. 3 nights later, Folek was awakened by a faint metallic sound. Clink. Clink. She froze, listening. It was coming from downstairs, near the old store she rarely allowed anyone to enter. The key to that store had been missing for years. Inside were boxes, old furniture, and, most dangerously, Beo's last belongings. She crept to her balcony and peered down. There he was. Chuka, torchlight in his hand. Lock-picking tools glinting in the dark. His face tight with concentration, Folek's stomach twisted. Nobody should know about that store. Nobody. Her first instinct was to scream. To rouse the compound, to shame him in front of everyone. But something inside her said no. If she exposed him now, he might reveal why he was really here. And Folek had survived too long to act in haste. Instead, she waited, heart racing, until Chuka finally gave up and slipped back into his flat. The next morning, she summoned Mama Ifeoma and 3 other gossiping tenants. Did you see that new man? Strange, ABI. She whispered, lowering her voice like someone sharing juicy news. Last night, I heard footsteps near the well. I think he is not who he says he is. By evening, the entire compound was buzzing with suspicion. Tenants eyed Chuka differently, whispering whenever he passed. Someone even swore they saw him digging near the backyard, though no one could prove it. But Folek noticed something more chilling. Chuka didn't react, he didn't fight back, didn't argue, didn't even try to explain himself. He just smiled politely, nodded, and went on as if nothing touched him. And that calmness terrified her more than any confrontation could. One evening, as Folek returned from a women's meeting, she saw Chuka sitting quietly by the compound gate. His eyes met hers, and for the first time, he spoke directly to her. Good evening, Madam Landlady. You don't sleep well at night, do you? Folek's chest tightened. Excuse me. She asked, feigning ignorance. He smiled faintly, stood up, and brushed the dust off his trousers. Should be careful. Sometimes the past doesn't stay buried. It comes knocking. And without another word, he walked into his flat, leaving Folek trembling on the spot. That night, she opened her secret ledger and wrote with shaky hands, he knows something. He is watching me. If I don't find out who he truly is, I may not live to confess the rest. As she closed the book, her eyes fell on the old photo hidden inside, the one of Beo shaking hands with a tall, younger man whose face looked disturbingly familiar. Her blood went cold. The man in the picture looked exactly like Chuka, but that was impossible. The photo was 15 years old. Folek could not sleep after seeing that picture. The face haunted her. The same jawline. The same piercing eyes. The same stubborn look that Beo once described, but it could not be. The man in that picture was dead, or so she thought. The following evening, she decided to test him. She carried a tray of jollof rice to Chuka's flat, pretending to be a kind landlady. When he opened the door, the smell of paper and dust hit her nose, like old files and documents. She forced a smile. Tenant, I just said let me greet you. How are you settling in? Chuka looked at her, eyes unreadable, then stepped aside. Come in, Madam Landlady. Her heart pounded as she entered. On his table, half hidden under a file, she saw something that nearly made her collapse. It was a photograph of her late husband, Beo, cut neatly from the same old newspaper she had hidden in her trunk. Before she could speak, Chuka locked the door behind her. "Click, sit down," he said softly, almost respectfully. "It's time you stop pretending." Folek swallowed hard, her palms sweating. What? What do you want from me?" Chuka stared at her for a long time, then finally said the words that shattered her, "Beo was my father." Folek's mouth went dry. Her knees trembled. What did you say?" "Yes," Chuka continued, his voice low but firm. "I am his first son. The son he had before he met you. My mother told me everything before she died. She told me how he loved you, how he wanted a new life with you. But also how he died. And how you," he leaned closer, his eyes burning into hers, "you were part of it." Folek's chest tightened as though invisible hands were strangling her. She shook her head violently. "No. No. I did not kill him." But her voice cracked under the weight of her secret. Tears rolled down her face. For years, she had buried it deep. For years, she had written it only in her secret diary, never daring to speak it aloud. But now, facing her late husband's son, she knew the truth had found her. She broke down. I didn't plan it. Beo was a good man. But he was stubborn. He trusted the wrong people. That contractor, Chief Ego, he tricked him. He offered him land, he offered him money, but when Beo refused to sign over the compound, they threatened him. That night. That car accident. It was no accident. Chuka's face tightened. "So why do people say you got the compound after his death? Why does everyone say you benefited?" Folek sobbed, clutching her chest. "Because it was the only way they would spare me and my baby. Chief Ego forced me. He said, sign the papers, take the property, keep quiet, or your child dies too. What could I do? I was just a trader with nothing. I chose to live. And I have carried the shame ever since." She covered her face with trembling hands. "Every brick of this house feels like blood. Every rent I collect reminds me. I never killed him with my hands, but my silence killed him just the same." For a long moment, the room was silent, only filled with her sobbing. Then Chuka whispered, "So it's true. My father's death was because of greed. Because of men like Ego. And because you let it happen." Folek reached for his hand, desperate. "Chuka, please, believe me. I have suffered for years. I wake up every night hearing that car crash in my dreams. If you want revenge, take it. But know the real man you should be after is still alive, Chief Ego. He is the one who killed your father." Chuka pulled his hand away, his face dark. "I don't know yet if I believe you. But one thing I know. The past has come back, and this time, no one will bury it." He opened the door slowly and let her walk out. But as Folek stepped into the cool night air, her body shaking, she realized something terrifying. If Chuka was here to dig up the past, then Chief Ego's secret might soon come crashing down on all of them. And Ego was not a man who left witnesses alive. After that night, Folek could not eat. She could not sleep. Every time she saw Chuka in the compound, her heart jumped. His eyes were too sharp, too calm, too much like Beo's. And she knew one thing: if Chief Ego ever found out Chuka was digging into the past, blood would flow again. But Ego already knew. One rainy evening, her phone rang. His voice was the same deep growl she remembered from years ago. "Folek," he said, "you're losing control. The boy knows too much. You know what to do." Her hands shook as she held the phone. "Chief. Please. He is Beo's son. We cannot, foolish woman." Ego snapped. "Do you want to lose everything? If that boy talks, your name will be finished. The police, the press, everybody will know how you got that compound. Choose, Folek. Him. Or you. The line went dead. Folek sat on her bed, staring at her diary. Tears filled her eyes. She had carried this burden for years, but now it was about to destroy her. Yet fear is a powerful chain. And so, trembling, she agreed to meet Chief Ego in secret. They met inside his black SUV late at night, near the abandoned warehouse. Ego's thick gold chain glittered under the car light. He was older, fatter, but still dangerous. Tomorrow night, Ego said, lighting a cigar. We make it look like robbery. Nobody will suspect. After that, peace will return. Folek's heart pounded. She nodded slowly, but her soul screamed. The next evening, Ego's men lurked near the compound, waiting for Chuka to return from work. Folek stayed inside, her body cold with guilt. But just as the plan was about to unfold, flashing blue lights tore through the street. Police. Don't move. Chaos erupted. Ego's men tried to run but were pinned down. Ego himself was dragged out of his car, roaring in anger. And then Folek's worst nightmare happened. A police officer climbed the stairs and knocked on her door. Madam Folek, the officer said, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and for aiding Chief Ego in the past. Her legs gave way. She fell to her knees, crying, I didn't want this. I didn't want this life. But the handcuffs clicked shut. Her diary, found inside her trunk, was now evidence. Every confession she had written in secret had betrayed her. Chuka stood outside the gate, watching as the police led Ego and Folek away. The tenants gathered, whispering in shock. For the first time, Folek's mighty voice was silent. The officer turned to Chuka. We have reviewed the documents. This compound was taken illegally years ago. By law, it belongs to Beo's first son. It belongs to you. Chuka's throat tightened. He looked at the building, at the tenants, at the life his father never lived to see. His eyes filled with tears, but he held them back. Slowly, he stepped forward, touched the rusted iron gate, and whispered, Papa, I have taken back what is yours. Months later, the compound was different. The tenants lived without fear, children played freely, and for the first time, laughter echoed in peace. Chuka became not just the new landlord, but a protector. He fixed the well, repaired the broken roofs, and treated the tenants like family, the family his father had always dreamed of. As for Folek, she sat in a cold prison cell, clutching her diary with shaking hands. Every night, she whispered the same words into the darkness, Forgive me, Beo. Forgive me. And thus, the confessions of a Lagos landlady came to an end, not on her lips, but written in her sins, and carried by the son of the man she lost. The end. Moral lesson: this story teaches us that no matter how long we hide the truth, it will always find its way back to light. Madame Folek thought her silence could protect her, but in the end, her secret destroyed her peace, her reputation, and her freedom. Lies and compromise may give us comfort for a moment, but they chain us forever with guilt. It also reminds us that greed and corruption do not just kill individuals, they destroy families, generations, and entire communities. Chief Ego's evil actions left scars that lasted more than 15 years. But justice, though slow, finally caught up with him. On the other hand, Chuka's persistence shows us the power of truth and courage. He did not seek revenge with violence but allowed the law and fate to expose the wicked. In the end, he restored his father's legacy and became the kind of man his father would have been proud of. Above all, this story is a warning and a hope. No matter the darkness of the past, truth will always conquer lies, and justice will always defeat evil. My amazing family, thank you so much for always supporting me, watching my stories, and keeping this journey alive. Every like, comment, and share means more than I can ever say. You are the reason I keep creating these emotional and thrilling stories, and together we're building a community where culture, truth, and storytelling live forever. I love you all, and trust me, The best is yet to come. Once more thanks to you all, from AfricanStories.